In this video, you're going to learn how to complete your collage for your Story Study multimedia project. Remember, you want to make sure that each box has the correct story element. So let's go over that. In this box, you're going to put the main character from your story, the secondary character, student choice, where you can add in any image that pertains to the story, theme number 1, your story title and author, theme number 2, plot, conflict from your story, and again, another student choice. Whatever pops into your mind that reminds you of the story will work here. Now, let's look at our actual collage maker and the tools. This collage maker is called Be Funky, and it's pretty cool. The two tools that I've been using are the image manager and the text. Unfortunately, the graphics cost money, so I haven't been able to use those, but that's okay because the image manager has a lot of pictures you can use. And all the images are stock images, so you don't have to worry about copyright issues. Okay, so now let's get started. Remember, you want to use the story that you used this whole unit that you were studying. In your story, we completed this unit, different elements, and we analyzed each element. You go back, use your notes, use your graphic organizers to help you with this activity. For my story, I used The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. So the best square to start with is going to be your story title and author square. You can either just put in the title and author, just the text alone, or you can use an image as a background and then add in text on top. I'm going to show you how to do the latter one. So now let me find an image that pertains to the story that I can use as a background. And when I think of The Telltale Heart, the biggest thing that stands out to me is the heart. So let me just type in heart and see if there's anyone that would be good for a background. So something good for a background would be something where I can have text in, like this one. You know, I can write The Telltale Heart here and the author's name here. And I love that the background's dark because my story's dark. So to choose an image, you're just going to click it. You'll see that it's clicked and selected, and you're going to X out. And you'll see you have a bank of images here that you just drag and drop. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to add my text, my title, and my author. So I'm going to click on the text button, click Add Text, and there you go. Now I'm just going to type in my text, The Telltale Heart. And fortunately, I really like that font, and I think it goes really well with the story. But if you wanted to change your font and have it more symbolic of your story, there is a lot of different fonts you can use. Okay, now I need to fix the size and the color. That color is not going to stand out in my background because it's dark, so I need a lighter color. So I'm just going to highlight it, click on the color button here, and just choose a color. I like red since it's a dark. I think the dark and red will go well. Now, I need to make this text smaller, so I'm just going to click this button to make it go smaller. Just give it a second. Sometimes it takes a little bit for the size to actually show. And you know what? That's still not going to fit, so I'm just going to click Enter so that I have 2 lines of text, and that might help. I'm also going to center it. You can also align to the right or align to the left. These are all your font tools here. Now, if I wanted to move that text, I just simply move it. So I drop it here. I still think it's a little big, so I'm just going to take it down a notch. And remember, you want to make it, if you're making it smaller, just make it sure that we can see it. And I think that fits perfectly. All right, now I just need to add in my author. So again, click Add Text, double click to type. I'm just going to type Oh. Alrighty. That seems a little bit big, so just minimizing it, making it smaller. And smaller. And smaller. That should fit. And just dragging. And just one more down. There we go. And drag it over a little bit. Just fiddling with that can be kind of a nuisance, but it definitely shows your craft and your creativity. All right, there we go. My title slide is finished. Title box is finished. Now, let's start with the character image. Now, whenever you think of your main character, you need to think of their personality traits. And again, go back to that graphic organizer we used to refer to that if you need a refresher. Now, to add an image, I click on Image Manager. And whenever I think of that main character in my story, I think he's paranoid. That's the first thing that stands out. So I'm just going to type in paranoid and see what comes up. Okay, so the one image that stands out is this one, because my main character is a male, and I feel like he just loses it at the end because of his guilt. And this is what I feel like he looks like to me. So I just click it, X out, and again, drag and drop. And boom, done with that one. Now we can move on to the secondary character. Your secondary character is someone that's not as important as the main character, but they're very important to the storyline. So the secondary character in my story is the old man that the main character murders. So I'm just going to look for an image of an old man to see if anyone looks like the one in my mind. Okay, so none of these really stand out until I get to this one. This one stands out to me because the one eye is exposed and the other one isn't. In my story, the main character murders this old man because of his eye. It irritates him so much. So using this, there's my secondary character. Student choice, I'm going to leave until the end because I want to get my mandatory boxes done first. So we'll skip that one and go to theme number 1. Again, refer back to that graphic organizer from the unit where you analyzed your theme in your story. The first theme that I think is really prevalent is the theme of guilt. My main character becomes guilty after murdering the old man. So you know what, let's type in the word guilty and see what comes up. Let's see. So nothing yet. You know what? This one looks really good to me. Right? Feeling that guilt, feeling that shame. So again, you guys choose whatever you want. This is your creative ability. You are the artist here. All right, now our second theme is death. This is a big theme in our story because our main character murders our secondary character. And just be aware, some of the images that you may see may be a little unsettling, but these are just images that you find on the internet. Nothing is totally inappropriate. They just might be a little bit unsettling, but that's okay. You guys can handle this. And if not, please message me. All right, so nothing really stands out except for this one. I like this one because the skull symbolizes my theme of death. And then I think of the main character having his hand on death, right? Manipulating death by murdering. So I'm going to choose that one. And drag and drop. All right, now let's think of plot. Plot may be a little tricky. When you think of your image for plot, I want you to think of what your plot line symbolizes. So for example, in my story, there's 2 climaxes. In the beginning, whenever my main character murders the old man, and then at the end, when my main character becomes so paranoid that he admits his guilt. So you know what? I'm just going to type in twist ending and see what happens. And you'll see there's all these different symbolisms of what could be plot lines. So you're going to find the one that stands out to you. So far, I'm just going to keep searching. Oh, you know what? This one stands out to me because to me, these 2 arches here are like the 2 climaxes in my story. So I'm just going to click that. And again, you guys have creative control. So just drag and drop. So for this box, we're going to use our conflict. There may be many conflicts in your story. You're going to choose one. It's either man versus self, man versus man, man versus society, or man versus nature. In my story, this is a man versus self conflict. And in this man versus self conflict, it's all about mental health, a mental illness, really, because he is struggling with this decision of murder. So I'm just going to type in mental health. We're just going to scroll down. And you know what? This one I feel like really stands out because it's a male kind of dealing with himself, obviously distressed over it. So I'm just going to drag and drop. Alright, now we have our student choices boxes, and this is where you can have complete artistic freedom. You can add in more elements. Maybe you want to talk about, you want to show an image of the author, or an image of the setting, or just the way you feel whenever you think about the story. It can be literally anything you want that pertains to the story. So let's start with this box. I'm going to think about the setting, and one thing when I think of Telltale Heart that just pops in my head when I think about it is the floorboard. Because my main character, he hides the old man's body under the floorboard and thinks the heart is still pumping. So that to me is just such a strong image. I'm going to type in floorboard and see what comes up, okay? So let's see if there's anything a little bit more specific that pertains. Oh, I love this one. There's hearts and the floorboard. It really symbolizes him hearing that heartbeat under the floorboard there. So I'm going to add that one up here. And then you know what? I really am an Edgar Allan Poe fan, so I'm going to add in something that reminds me of him, or if even there's an image of him, that would be great. So let's just type in his name. Sorry. And see what comes up. Aha! Nice. So I'm just going to add in a picture. And there I go. So you want to just double check, make sure that all your story elements are in the correct boxes. Refer to that assignment sheet. Also, remember, refer to all of your notes, your graphic organizers from Unit 3 when you analyzed each one of these elements from your story. All right, now it's time to save. I'm just going to simply click Save, Save Computer, and then you're going to save it as a JPEG, and just click Save here. And then you'll see it download, so you just click on this, and this is how we'll save it into the correct folder. And give it a second, it takes about a minute for it to actually upload. And now you're going to click Save As. Click these three buttons, click Save As, find your Reading Strategies folder, and you can name it Collage, and then your name. Click Save, and then you're going to upload that into the correct folder in Unit 3 Fiction for your project. Please let me know if you have any questions or get stuck at all. One tip is if you make a mistake on your collage, if you click Control-Z or right-click, undo, that will bring you back. And that's a really good tip that I used when I was doing this. Again, please let me know if you have any questions, guys, and more importantly, have fun.